Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to a SCORE workshop. We are always so delighted to have Patty talk about all things there is in marketing, but specifically LinkedIn. Such a wonderful, powerful tool for all of us to use from either side of the spectrum. It is a good professional place to use to network, to learn, to explore, to get recognized as well. And there are a lot of tips and tools that we will learn about today, especially me. I'm going to be learning as well. So I appreciate Patty's time. SCORE is a national organization. We are about 12,000 volunteer retired executives, experts in subject matters, and we're here to help you. We're here to help you navigate through the course of starting a business, or if you're in the midst of a business and hit a snag. That's what we're here for. We're here to help. And the price tag is great. It's zero. So we are here to help. We're paying it forward to the new entrepreneurs in the United States. So with that said, I'd like to introduce Patty Ross, and I'll leave it to you to start.
All right. Well, thank you. Welcome, everyone. Hold on. I'm just got to get my slides up here. That does definitely make it more interesting. So let me share. Okay. That should work. Okay. Hopefully you see the slides in a show.
While you're doing that, I failed to say that you will be getting a recording of this workshop in about 24 hours after the workshop is over to your registered email. Also, Patty is open to take questions either in the chat or the Q&A, and she'll answer them along the way. So be patient as your question gets posted.
Yep, exactly. Thank you. Yes. And actually preferably put the questions in the Q&A because there's going to be a lot of chatter in the chat. So if you can, it'd be harder for me to see them in the chat. Just drop them in the Q&A and I'll work on them as we go through. I'll try to answer them along the way, and then we'll have some time at the end to finish up any questions. But do so, and there be a good reason, because I know you guys I'm going to invite you to do a lot of chatting and networking in the chat as we go. This is a networking class, a networking topic, I should say. So welcome to LinkedIn Marketing Essentials for Business. Always start with this slide. According to LinkedIn, 80% of social media leads are generated through LinkedIn. It means 4 out of every 5 leads are generated from LinkedIn. So who's collecting some of those leads, or who wants to? Or raise your hand, say amen, hallelujah in chat, right? Yes, everybody want those leads. So this is where you should be hanging out if you're B2B. Linda and I were just talking a few minutes before we started. A lot of people are like, scared of LinkedIn. They kind of leave it after years. They're not sure what to do with it, how to participate, but hopefully this class will demystify some of that and encourage you to utilize LinkedIn, especially for B2B. And we'll talk with some of you are B2C as well. There is crossover, some. So we'll talk about how that could work for some of you. So what is networking? Why am I talking about networking? Because basically LinkedIn, in addition to finding jobs, which is also a form of networking, it's a place to meet, build relationships, meet people, potential clients, potential collaborations, people to introduce you to other people, learn stuff. So whether you do it in person and or online, very important part of the marketing toolbox is to get out there, and don't be afraid to go out there and meet people and network. So we're going to network here. We're not going to break out into rooms or anything and chit chat, but I invite you to network in the chat. So your business owners, and we currently have 64 people in the room who are probably active entrepreneurs, business owners, and you never know who's in the room. Might be person that might want to do business with you, collaborate, connect you to somebody, learn from you, teach you something. So share all any of your business information you normally would share, like if you handed somebody your business card. Now very important, I encourage you, grab your LinkedIn profile and or your LinkedIn company page, both. Paste those in the chat, because you're going to want to share that and follow and connect with each other as you learn. There's some good reasons to do that. So share all your business. I don't need social security numbers, and we don't need the name of your firstborn child and where your home address is. Share any of your business information. that you would. So pretend that we're all in a personal mixer in person, and I ask each of you for 65 of your cards, and I said, I'm going to hand them to every person in the room for you. Wouldn't you want that? I would say yes. You should say yes, business owners. Don't be shy about sharing your business information. So network away. Yesterday I taught this. People were, hey, anybody know that somebody who does this? And they were networking. I hope they'll hopefully catch up on the slides and recording later. But very important. I encourage that. So a little bit about LinkedIn, what's going on there, who's hanging out. So there's over 1 billion now, number just jumped up, billion members in 200 countries and regions worldwide. The number, I have a conflicting number. One slide I have 214 million, the other I have 230 million. It had jumped up from 199 million. So definitely more people are starting to really come back and use it. LinkedIn is now 22 years old, believe it or not. Some of us, has anybody been on LinkedIn in 22 years? And I can have to count back, go back and see how long I've been on it. So marketers, we love LinkedIn for B2B, and as B2B businesses, you should also love LinkedIn. You shouldn't be necessarily hanging out on Instagram and TikTok and maybe some Facebook, but those are not the places necessarily to hang out to get the gold, get the business. And again, some of you can cross over into both, and we'll talk about that, how that works a little bit. So a little bit more male than female, as you see here on the side. Interesting stat. I'm not going to read all of them. You'll get the slides, but I like that 101 job applications are submitted on LinkedIn every second. Isn't that crazy? 6 people get hired every minute. So how many seconds and in the minute? That's 60. I don't know. I can't calculate how 600 in that time that 6 people get a job out of that. I can't crunch the numbers. That's why I do marketing. So this is an interesting one. I share this, but I want a little caveat with this. So just like the other platforms like Instagram, Facebook, you look at those as like, who hangs out there? If your target audience is say 30 and below, probably TikTok and Instagram. If say 45 plus, more of that group hangs out on Facebook, for example. LinkedIn's a little bit different. So you can see here the bulk is, of course, the zillennials and millennials, right? The ones that are just coming up into the job market, starting a business perhaps. And then it definitely tapers off that 55 plus, people are retiring, maybe getting out of business, but doesn't matter as much. And I'll give you an example. So one of my private clients is a transportation logistics business, female owner, she founder and CEO of the company. She founded it about 11-ish years ago. And she has 70 plus employees now, multi-million-dollar company, and she just turned 36. And so I'm assuming if any of you wanted to do business with a CEO of a multi-million-dollar company and happen to be in transportation, you wouldn't care if she's 36, right? 56, 36, 96, maybe 16 might be a little young, well, they're more experienced. But hey, if they're CEO of that company, you'd want to reach out to them, right? It wouldn't matter. So that's why with LinkedIn, we're looking for who they are. How, are they somebody that we want to reach out to do business with rather than looking for an age specific thing like the other platforms, more direct to consumer. So I just wanted to share, that's kind of the bulk. That might affect, the what do you call it? The linguistics used, the language, the terminology, how millennials and zillennials talk might be different than as Gen Xers and boomers. So in business relationships, how they communicate might be different, some might be the same. So that could be one factor in looking at like, well, I'm dealing with a 36-year-old now. I'm older than my client, 36-year-old client. But I don't see that much of a difference in how we relate and how I communicate with her. She's definitely very tight, runs a very tight ship when it comes to her marketing and her business. So she doesn't miss a single little thing. I can imagine. Can't do that in logistics. So a few little stats. Again, I'm not going to read all these. You'll get the slides on this, but just a few things. So 4 out of 5 people on LinkedIn are decision drivers, right? So very important. Some of you might be reaching kind of the middle person, and then they have to go up the ladder to get approval for things. That happens in B2B. B2C is more about the person that's buying your product or service you're directly dealing with, or maybe family member as well. But generally there might be a chain of people that you have to get approval from, right? So According to 40% of B2B marketers polled, LinkedIn is the most powerful channel for generating high quality leads. So as LinkedIn said, most of them are there. All right. Content, according to 77% of content marketers, LinkedIn delivers the highest organic results. 60% of LinkedIn users actively seek industry insights. This is where we come for business knowledge, right? We're not coming here to look at what you ate for lunch and how cute your dogs are and where you went on family vacation. Save that over there for all IG, Facebook, etc. This is where we come to deepen our knowledge about business and, of course, network and do all that stuff. But that's why we come here. Businesses that post at least weekly on LinkedIn see 2 times more growth and engagement. And this is 50% of social media traffic is driven from LinkedIn to your blogs and websites for B2B. So very powerful for it. So if you're, again, hopefully you'll be convinced at the end of this to really use it if you've kind of abandoned ship with LinkedIn. Advertising, if you want to reach 15% of the world's population, you can on LinkedIn. It might be a little costly. As a result of LinkedIn ad exposure, businesses' purchase intent increased by 33%. Right. And hyper targeting always is more successful than a wider approach. So here you can look for specific people or industries, et cetera, for marketing, rather than trying like, oh, we do a Facebook ad and we're trying to reach engineers and you're like, oh, we might catch a few in the net, but here you can specifically target those groups. So how do you participate on LinkedIn? A lot of ways. And I'll start off with this. I've heard some people tell me after seeing this class or I talk about LinkedIn, they're like, oh my God, that's so much work. And I'm like, yeah, it is. Be prepared. It is a lot of work, but if you are B2B, look at this as this is where your gold is, right? This is where you should be panning for gold. Here, and LinkedIn wants you to participate in all these ways. They kind of say they reward you for it, but really the more that you're participating in these ways, the more return you're going to see on it for you. So definitely you're going to connect with people, and we'll talk about how to connect, follow company pages, post quality content, and engage. Got to also be reciprocal and engage, like comment, repost other people's content. Create a newsletter. That might be a feature some of you are not aware, a very powerful feature as well. Definitely participate in groups. A lot of leads are generated in groups. I think majority of the leads on LinkedIn are generated through groups, right? Because you can collaborate, see what's going on. People might share referrals in the same industry, learn about people's pain points and industries you want to work with. And then also another feature some of you may not be familiar with is called collaborative articles. So you might be able to contribute to those and that content gets seen by your audience as well. So basically, in other words, network, right? And that's all of these different ways. You don't do all this stuff when we meet at a mixer, right? You connect with people, share each other's information, maybe learn something from each other, but online we can deepen that a little bit more. It's all about making you the subject matter expert for your B2B. We want more information about who they are, right? It's not a quick like, oh, those are cute shoes. Okay, I'll buy them, put them in my cart. They're gone, right? If I'm going to buy new software or hire a coach or do anything in the B2B realm, I want to know more about them, what their expertise is. So it's all about building those trust relationships and all that and knowledge. Okay. So we'll talk about these. So why network, right? Of course, to find new clients, right? Potentially find new hires if you're looking, look at all those resumes that are being uploaded. Expand those opportunities and collaborate, just like I mentioned, you should do in the chat, and learn from others, right? And that's whether it's in person or online, right? Potentially. And don't be afraid to network either way. And I hear this a lot. I say it's not spamming, right? Especially with LinkedIn. And I kind of equate this to an in-person thing. So I'm going to use this example. So people say, well, I go on LinkedIn and then I just get all these spam messages. And, after we connect with somebody, and I want you to take that out of your vocabulary. Okay, about it's spam. So let's just equate this to an in-person. Let's say, okay, the last person who typed something in the chat, Claudia. Okay, so let's pretend Claudia and I are both in Los Angeles and we're at a mixer and we don't know each other. We saunter across the room and approach each other and say, hey, how you doing? Nice to meet you. And you shake hands. And I ask, hey, what do you do, Claudia? And she proceeds to tell me what she does. And I'm like, assuming that once I'm done, she'll probably want to hear what I do. But instead, as she finishes and I start to talk about myself, she puts her hand in my face and goes, no, don't spam me. Now, Claudia, I'm sure you will not do that. And none of you would, but that's what we would equate it to online, right? So the only way we have to connect with each other, like we can't shake hands and hand each other a business card, but one of us invites the other to connect, and then the other person accepts the connection. And then we do the handshake kind of thing of like, here, let me hand you my business card. And the only way really to do that is to send a message. Now, there's a good and a bad way to do a message. Like I would say, if Claudia and I were, say inviting each other to connect online, and as soon as she accepts my connection and I send a message, hey, Claudia, let me tell you all about my marketing services, sign up right now and let's talk about how I can help you with marketing. That might be a little bit of a hard approach. Like, can we meet first? So I usually will, start off with like, thanks for connecting. Is there anything I can do to help you? Or tell me more about yourself. So who are you looking to help? Maybe I can help you. So kind of make it about them first. So there is an appropriate way to do it. Some people just, hey, all about the sale and do it. But again, I know somebody that kind of happened in person, almost could have been like a LinkedIn experience. Went to a brand new chamber I joined here in the LA area. I didn't know any of these folks, and it was an in-person one. It was just kind of as COVID was winding down, I would say winding down, but as everybody was starting to get vaccinated and they started doing in person, didn't know anybody. We're at this brewery and I go up and people are standing around. I approach a group and we're talking, introduce ourselves. And this woman walks in and she's rolling a little mini carry-on suitcase. And I was like, that's an interesting thing to do at a networking event. And everybody else kind of looked like, oh, gave this look like they knew what to expect. And this woman walked right up to me, handed me her card, and she's a hypnotist. And I guess for business or something, I'll be more successful at business. So it immediately did that message like, hey, Batty, tell me about you, sir. I can help you with, are you having issues with your business? You want to make more money? Da-da. And like, whoa, can you ask my name? I don't even know she did that at that point, but everybody was like, oh, watch out for her. So she already had this reputation. That's what she rolled in with her suitcase, approached people she hadn't met yet in the card. As soon as she had your card, which I didn't know not to give to her, she was texting me and calling me all the time. So again, that approach, not so good in person or online, to do that. So be mindful of that. Let's see, there are a lot of marketing biz reaching out to me to do automated LinkedIn marketing. Can you speak to that? Yeah, I'll talk about that in a second, Karen. There is ways to automate LinkedIn and to do some of it, some do LinkedIn outreach and stuff like that. So there is ways to do that. So I'll talk about that in a second. So your LinkedIn presence. This always gets a little confusing for some, which is okay. So I'm going to hopefully clear that up. Our LinkedIn, it's similar to Facebook. Our LinkedIn presence is first our profile, right? We all create a profile. It should be under your name, not an alias, not your company name. The profile is you, all of your experience, your previous, your current experience, all about you and your knowledge, your skills, your volunteer work, your certifications, all the stuff you want to share about who you are, professionally, where Facebook is obviously more personal. And then if you have a company as well, and all of us probably have a company, you set up a company page. Okay. And that is managed under your profile. You can have multiple company pages. You only should have one profile. Now you can physically go ahead and just use different emails and set up different profiles, but you shouldn't do that. But LinkedIn doesn't like it. And it's because we're only one person. If you have a couple different companies, you shouldn't set up a couple different profiles. You should set up one profile and then have separate company pages. People connect with people. So the profile has connections. That's your people to people. Now a newer, I don't know how new it is, but newer feature is now you can just follow people. And the same with Facebook, they've added like you can like them or you can just follow them without, liking them or connecting, right? But generally, people to people, we're connecting, and you only should have one profile. It's confusing if I go and maybe I meet Mr. Nick Singh at an event, and I go and look up his LinkedIn under his name, and maybe he has like 3 profiles. I was like, which one, who are you? Which one do I use? Which one do I connect with? Or is one an old one? So you have to be careful. If you have multiple, I would say delete, or if you have a lot of connections, I would say merge. It might take a little time to merge them, but I would merge them into one and then set up company profiles. Now, I'm going to mention this. I get this all the time. If you have, say you have a job, I'll say you work for Goldman Sachs, you're a financial analyst, but you're starting a side business, but Goldman Sachs, they don't want you to do that. So you're kind of having to be on the down low, or you have 2 different businesses that are different. You don't want them to kind of intermix. That's going to be a little hard. If you're trying to hide anything from anybody on here, in your business, it's hard. You're going to have to pick a lane. If you're growing a business, I have somebody I work with that she is starting a nonprofit, but she's working because, money's not coming in yet on the nonprofit. So if she's looking for work, she's really the CEO of the nonprofit, but she has to put it as like she's a volunteer for the nonprofit. So I'm like kind of hiding the fact, but if you're trying to do business to get sponsors or whatever for the nonprofit, and you're just seen as a volunteer because you're hiding it, it gets a little tricky. So yeah, if you have a thing where you're trying to hide, don't use an alias name, because people don't want to connect to aliases. You're gonna have to explain that, like, why are you using a fake name? The only instance where that was totally appropriate is I worked with briefly with an author, or marketing company wanted help with marketing for a book that was written, a crime-related book, and the author was under witness protection from the mob because he, or I guess, informed. He was a mob informant and wrote a book about it, but he couldn't use his real name. So in that case, he used the author, the name of the book, the ghost name on the book. Totally appropriate, because there's no way he could use his real name on there without getting killed. So, and unless you're a mob informant and you're under witness protection, use your real name under that. And if we have anybody, Wesley wouldn't be here if you're under under witness protection. So hopefully it's clear, right? Profile is you as a person. Only have one of those. Very clear. All of your information. You can put your business banner in the back, like Nick did here. But you should have your headshot, your picture, so we see it's you, and should have your name and all of that there. If you have it as a business name, switch it to your name. Okay. Let's see. It sounds like interest in LinkedIn in the past plateaued or declined, but interest has now recovered or increased. What has changed to build interest in usage? All these people attending my class, Vivian, of course, now. It could be just a shift in the generationally. I don't know the exact shift, but I think that more businesses are, especially B2B, are coming online too. There might not have been a traditional method. It's still, if you think back B2B, if you go back 22 years back before LinkedIn and most of the online social media platforms were around, right? The way that you go get sales is you go knocking door to door, you make phone calls, right? You build relationships, you meet them at events, mixers, whatever. And we still do that. And it's still an important part of B2B marketing. But now there's that online presence as well. So there definitely has been a shift and obviously increase more people out in the workforce. Also, a lot of people, especially post-COVID, went from working for somebody, especially a lot of women started businesses after COVID. They had to maybe stop the job because the kids were home with the Zoom school and all that. And people just tired of working for somebody else and deciding to start businesses. So a lot of new businesses were started. So that could, a lot of new people doing B2B coaching, consulting, things like that. So that could be part of the, reason why we're seeing that uptick in it, right? What if you legally have multiple last names? Can you just use one for your whatever, like what do you put on your business card? If you handed me your business card and your name's on there, and whatever names you use, that's same thing. This is your business card online, right? So if you have multiple last names, whichever one, if you're using all of them, I used, I was married and I got divorced. I kept my married last name for about 5 years and finally went back to my maiden name. But I kept it because at the time I started my business in the time that I was married, and people knew my unusual last name. Then I just decided, I'm at a point now where it's like, yeah, everybody, I'm not dealing with the same people. And if I meet new people, I really wanted to have my last name, my maiden name back again. So in that case, so yeah, you just have to pick which one you're using, but you say one for your business and one as an employee. You mean like have two different profiles, like a business profile and employee? Still tricky. You still should really only have one. If you're using LinkedIn as an employee, you might not. But like I said, if you're kind of in two worlds, you're an employee of a company and you're running a business. So it does get tricky if somebody's looking you up. Or for example, I have an advising client I'm working with, and he's a CEO of a landscape design company. He's been doing it for many, many years. And he just decided, you know what, this entrepreneurship thing is hard. It's like, I'd rather do the work, let somebody else chase the money, find clients all the time. So he's putting himself out there and applying for jobs on LinkedIn. But if you go to his profile, he still has CEO of his landscape company. And I'm like, are people asking in interviews? He's like, yeah, they're at. I figured they would. Like, why are you looking for work? And I said, there's probably a lot of people who might not be reaching out to because they go to your profile and then they see, oh, well, he owns a company. Is he seriously looking for work? Is this just like maybe an interim thing? Is he failing at his business? What is it? So you do have to be careful, be mindful of, like I said, picking a lane and how you're going to use it, but you really should still only have one. Even with a different name. It's kind of, to me, that would be kind of still using a alias in a way. Let's see, probably the change in Twitter too. Yeah, it could be. Well, there's a lot of weird changes with Twitter. Let's talk about that. I use Twitter, but so your profile, what should it look like, right? So I would say very clear, clean headshot. Okay, this isn't the platform where you're going to have a picture of you and your dog or your kids or your family vacation photo, drinking a margarita, whatever. A nice clean, it should be as current as possible, right? So if people do meet you, maybe online or in person, and they go, oh, well, I thought she was a redhead, but now you're totally blonde and have shorter hair, right? So make sure it's clean and clear, fairly recent. And then I would say out of the top two headshots here, Katrina and Henri, great. I think Rivka, probably back it up a little bit, have some more space around her head, a little too close up. I don't think cutting you off. Clean, clear, recent, and people see your smiling face. You should have a banner, like Rivka has the banner behind it. Looks like she's promoting her books. On there, the other two don't. So you should have a banner. You can create those on Canva. Easy to do. And make sure you optimize for SEO. Right? So your photos, if you go to just type in your name in Google, and some of us have fairly common names, but find yourself, it will come up fairly high in the search usually. Like on mine, on the lower right, you have my business, and then a Facebook comes up, and then LinkedIn, and then I'm a member of some chambers. So those come up because I'm in the directory. So make sure you put SEO, your photo name, your background banner with your name, your business name in there. Your about section as well. Use keywords about what you do. Don't make it keywordy, but make sure, mine says I do digital marketing, and it's pretty obvious if you see mine, I'm in marketing. So make it clear what you do, because people search. If they're looking for, a software engineer and you're a software engineer, it should say somewhere that you're a software engineer, right? So make sure you kind of optimize for SEO as well. And then just some different ways you can use your LinkedIn headline. So that's the line that's right under your name. You want to definitely use that effectively. So different ways that it's being used. The top one, the guy, the co-founder of Mailshake, we're hiring sales reps and back-end devs. So he's using an opportunity to get some resumes in. Morgan DeBon, she's CEO and founder of Blavity, the largest digital millennial news and media company for African Americans in the US. So she's made it very clear. If she just put CEO and founder Blavity, there might be a lot of people who don't know what that is. So she's like, oh, okay, a news and media company for African Americans. Great. Max, founder partner, GrowthX. I help companies, startups, and countries commercialize innovation and get products to market. Very clear what he does. Lisa, PR disruptor, social PR agency, CEO, founder. She has, looks like, some hashtags there as well. So very clear. Here's some more. Here's foundations recruiter at Airbnb, career matchmaker, unicorn hunter. You can have kind of fun with it. Here's people who are jobs. Somebody's specifically for people in Indiana as well. Change it up, you know, as well, but make sure it's very clear and you're using it, because people do look at that, and also to potentially, you know, for job recruiters too, right? So, but looking for the next opportunity, like of what, right? What opportunity? And then creating a company page. So some of you have not yet created a company page. It's pretty easy to do. You just go under that work icon and go right to the bottom, create a company page. You're going to choose company, if you're a company, unless you are an educational institution. And then you're just going to fill out this easy form. That's all you need, your business name and your company and all of that. And you can make a page public URL. So I think if they, if you don't, I think they now make it so that you do. And if you have an old one that it's like LinkedIn company, you know, Golden State Marketing -0099, whatever, they assign whatever number, you can go, oops, you can go ahead and change that. Sorry, skipping the slide there. And have it so it's the name of your business. Make it easy for you to tell people and share it, so it's not a long string of numbers and letters. So fill that out, upload your logo. This is where you put your logo, not your headshot. And then you'll also have a banner behind it, and that it's a little weird if you use Canva to create them. It's called the LinkedIn, I think, career page banner. Instead, it's real long and skinny. I forgot the dimensions. It's like 1100 by 200 or something, but it's called the career banner, but it's the same size. So it won't be called the company page banner if you're using Canva. And then connections. So I know some of you may not be familiar with LinkedIn, like why you're seeing a 2, a 3rd, a 1st next to names. So this is the breakdown. So first connections are people you are directly connected to. One of us invited, the other connected. Those are first. Second is we're not first level connections, but we have mutual connections. Okay, so I know some people, you know, some same people. So you can still, you know, invite each other to connect and become first. Third is like, there's no relationship at all. You're not connected directly. We don't have any mutual connections at all. So that's why you see those numbers. And again, you can invite thirds and seconds to become firsts as well. So I'll share that. Let me just see before I go on to some questions. I can move this over. For the company page, is this on any LinkedIn account? I only have a free account. Yes. All of that is free. You can have as many company pages, and I'll talk about kind of the free versus paid, some of the features down the road here on this presentation. But yeah, all that is in the free version. So yeah, you can do all that and have company pages. I already answered that question about the legal. Let's see there. Oh, I'll hold off on that, Karen, on the LinkedIn on automation. I will circle back to that. Yeah, keep on networking and share. Find your LinkedIn company page and your profile link, drop them in there. You're going to find why it's important to share and get some more connections. I have a client, he's one of my coaching clients. He's in Pittsburgh. He's a sound healer, and he's connected to a couple of people and got some potential gigs from networking. Another one of my coaching clients, I was helping her with LinkedIn the other day, and I saw that she was connected with him, and she's like, oh yes, I was talking about him. She goes, oh, you mean Corey, right? And I'm like, yeah. She's like, oh, we met each other. We met in chat in one of my classes and connected with each other. So that's what networking's all about. Okay, so this is kind of a weird thing with LinkedIn. So their algorithm is a little special. It's a little different than the Instagram, Facebook, which are more machine algorithm driven. Just like how often you post, when you've been online, you know, what's your engagement and reaches, and, you know, a lot of stuff that's, you know, kind of based on just machine. LinkedIn's different. There is human intervention with the algorithm. So when you post content, your posts up, it's going to go through a human algorithm first. It goes through what's called the golden hour. The first hour it's out there. They're going to give it a content quality scoring. And what they're looking for is this like, well, I don't like their opinion on what they're, no, it's not that. It's basically want to make sure this is, you're not posting up pictures of your dog and what you ate for dinner and all the stuff that you would put on LinkedIn, or on not on LinkedIn, on the other platforms. Make sure it's good quality. It doesn't seem spammy. And then it's going to send it either down the good content quality or the kind of, we're a little questionable. I relate this. Everybody remember the movie Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, Veruca Salt, the golden goose, right? And the golden eggs that she wanted. Remember they lay the egg and it goes down the machine and it goes either down the good egg, it's a golden egg, ding, 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 or it's a bad egg. And so I kind of relate it to that. So it will either go down okay, so this is a good egg, seems good, could turn into a golden egg, and they'll watch it for that first hour. Does it get any likes or views or comments or anything? Is anybody reporting it as a spam or anything? Is anybody reporting the content for some reason? And they might demote it from there, or keep it going. So that's what happens in that first hour is going to determine how much it's shown out there, right? So that's, let's say, yep, still a good egg. Okay. And so these are some examples. Terrible post. It says, make money super quick, DM for details, not a scam. And okay, probably is a scam. So it goes down kind of the bad egg chute. It's like, we're not too sure. It's probably going to be spammy and we're just not going to show it. You might see it if this is you, but your people won't see it, right? Your connections won't see it. A little bit better. Okay, my company, Fresher Than You, is the best company in the market and in the world even. Really great stuff, amazing. Okay, a little braggadocious, but okay. So they'll send it down the good chute. They'll monitor into that hour and see what happens. We'll either keep circulating in the good egg chute or they might send it over to the bad egg chute, right? So might appear golden, but maybe it has a little, it loses its shine. Maybe it's gold plated instead, right? Good. I won't read the whole thing, but a lot of content says a lot. We want to have more content here. This isn't like, hey, look at this cool thing. That's, for the other ones. You're educating people, right? And then the most important part to engage people, ask them questions at the end. It says, hey, what do people think? Any experts that could weigh in? And you can see, if you can see that number, it says 136 likes, 54 comments, on it. So send it down the good egg chute. Stays there. They continue to monitor it and they're like, okay, looking like it's getting some attention. It's getting some comments and likes, looking good. Nobody's reporting anything as bad. All good. So this is how LinkedIn works. So think about this type of content. This is what you want to do. 1,900 to 2,000 character long posts. So you can do longer posts on here. And again, because we're educating people, they're coming here for industry insights, not just a quick entertainment. And then what should you post? Definitely original content. You can repost, other people's content. That's definitely how, reciprocate, engaging, and encourages the algorithm, right? So definitely a lot of original content you want to do. Posts with images get twice as many comments as text posts. LinkedIn videos get 5 times the engagement, right? What you don't want to do is beg for what's called empty engagement. Using, the same goes for Facebook, and people still do it. And if you're running any contests or anything, I think most probably more direct to consumer, but this was back from 2013. People still do it. Where it's like you're running a contest to win something and you're like, okay, follow us, follow our page, make a comment, and do all these things, reactions, in order to win the contest. You're not allowed to do that. They got rid of that, over 10 years ago, but people still do it. Might not, they could shut your contest down. But you also don't want to use your the reactions for empty engagement, like, hey, vote by hitting the like or love or whatever, the thumbs up. And those shouldn't be used for that. You shouldn't be telling people, hey, use those reactions to vote for something, right? They should just use it because, hey, they want to give a thumbs up or they love the post or they comment, using the comments for voting or anything other that's, like I said, empty engagement. Both Facebook and LinkedIn do not want you to do that because then it's giving false engagement. And the more engagement you get reach, on there as well. So you'll see that people asking random questions on Facebook because they're trying to get engagement on there. So that might not be like, why are they asking this question, you know? And encourage engagement by asking questions, as I mentioned already. That definitely encourages them to do that. You can do polls on LinkedIn too, so you can use that if you want to have people vote. Just run a poll. You know, it's pretty easy to do. And then hashtags, a little bit different than the other ones. You don't use as many hashtags on LinkedIn as you do on other platforms, like 30 of them on Instagram if you want to. You use them very sparingly. These are very specific. So Social Media Insider is a kind of, I guess you can say, online magazine blog company for marketing people, but for social media managers and stuff. And they have a annual conference as well. So it's more than just an online blog. They send emails and obviously they post content. So their audience is marketing people, social media managers. So we have a post about TikTok. So they use hashtag TikTok marketing, hashtag social media managers, hashtag marketing. So like, what is this about? Who is the audience, right? And in general, just marketing. I always use that hashtag. The other one's about Facebook. So it's specifically about Facebook ads, ad tips, ad strategy, Facebook marketing to kind of mix it up. So usually under like 6 or so at the most you would use on LinkedIn compared to the other platforms, right? So not as much. And you can do searches just like you do on Instagram. Put in, like for mine, I could put hashtag marketing. It will give me all the different marketing hashtags that are trending on there. So put in a topic around your business and see if you can find hashtags that are already existing with those, right? Let's see. So I'm just looking at some chat. Oh, we have chat here. I'm not sure these are people are chat normally does get included, although this comes from, yeah. Oh, sorry, it's Karen. Stop talking about that. Or Linda. Okay, you're all connecting. Perfect. Yay. Okay. And then questions. Here we go. If we have multiple business units, how can we link them to our personal profile? Business unit. So is it one company that you have different units in the company? Like units, do you mean like a marketing department and another, or maybe like the consumer unit and the business wholesale unit? Or I'm not sure what you mean by the units, if that's what you mean. So it'd have to really be company pages. Or you could do it as company page. I'm not sure if I'm describing this correctly. So let's just say your unit means like you said, you have a retail unit, and then you have a wholesale unit, and then, you know, a professional unit. So if it's under the same company, you could set up company pages, and it could be, you know, let me just say, I'll just use mine. Like if I had different units of my company, like maybe I have a direct to consumer unit and a direct to business unit. I can do Golden State Marketing, direct to consumer, Golden State Marketing, direct to business. You know, so I don't know if that would be the only way. So you just be repetitive of your company, but you would just kind of also include the sub unit name, if that makes sense. So that I think that's what you're asking. One company with multiple, retail wholesale. So it sounds like the same. So that's probably how you would do it then, is just keep doing company pages, but then also, you know, business name hyphen retail, business name hyphen wholesale. If you need to have different units, that might not be necessary if you just use one company page for all of it. You know, so that would be something to kind of scope out before you set all of these up, because then you're managing all these different pages. And if you really want to keep the content separate, that would make sense. So you had somebody who's managing your retail page, somebody who's managing your wholesale page, somebody, you know, as long, you know, sometimes people will set up multiple Facebook pages for multiple locations of their business, but, you know, are they managing all of them? So I say just have one, right? So this depends on how much work you want to put in to manage all of that. Regarding use of hashtags, is there any benefit to building them into the content versus listing them at the end? No, either way, you can all put it at the bottom. It might be aesthetically more pleasing, but sometimes you can do, let me see, say for example, Laura has been juggling in hashtag marketing and hashtag social media. So obviously they use hashtags marketing at the bottom, but I've seen it both ways. There's really no difference other than the look and feel of it, perhaps. So aesthetically having them at the bottom versus the hashtags in there. But yeah, that doesn't make a difference on as far as how they appear, how they're used, how they're searched and all that. as long as it has a hashtag on there. Let's see, to access my company page, I think I link from my personal page. I didn't know the LinkedIn URL and just discovered that our business, Discover Hollywood, has 2 accounts. One unknown uses business name, other, which I used to post, has a number ID. So is it 2 different business pages or is it 2 profiles? If it's 2 different company pages, I think you can still get those merged. I know you can merge 2 profiles. I would just Google, because I've never done the company pages, because most people have more profiles than company pages. But they're just Google, can I merge LinkedIn, 2 LinkedIn company pages? And if it's the same, I did this yesterday with one of my coaching clients. She has 3 profiles. 2 of them she has access to, and they're ones being used, but she just had set them up, and they have, one has 8,000 connections, the other has 4,000. She doesn't want to just delete one. The third one was set up by, I don't know, somebody who created her website or did marketing years ago, and she doesn't know who, can't reach the person. There's no followers or anything. But it has her name. So if somebody searches them, that's how I found her. I searched her name and I go, you have 3 profiles. But yeah, check that if it's the company name, you can potentially merge them. If there's no followers on one, then I would just say delete it, but if you have a lot of followers on both and want to keep all the followers, then you'd have to figure out if they can merge that for you. So hopefully that makes sense. All right. So keep on going here, maybe. And then when should you post? Right. So the LinkedIn algorithm, they know when people are most engaged, when they're on there and they're most engaged with content is what this is based on in your local time. Right. So, but if most of your, folks are, I would say pick your local, not like, well, I have people in New York and Paris and, just base it on 2 p.m. Pacific if you're on the Pacific time. It used to be with LinkedIn, they found that the best times to post were Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, first thing in the morning, 9 a.m.-ish, and then 5 p.m. Like people are coming in the door at work and then leaving, about to leave at the end of the day. Mondays and Fridays tended to be like, just getting in, didn't have time, and then people bolting out the door on Fridays. But now they're breaking it down, like all of these times seem to be when people are most engaged. I don't know who's on LinkedIn at 4 or 5 in the morning on Saturdays. Anybody? Right. But yeah, I know people who do get engagement on the weekends. It might be people just wanting to get last minute business done before they start the weekend, or start their day on the weekend. So try out these different times, see what the engagement like. It could just be the post, as well. So, mix it up a little bit here. And these are posts, not newsletters or articles. These are just for posts. Where is my mouse? There we go. Okay, newsletters and articles. So who here, raise your hand if yes, you already have a newsletter. Only the ones who already have a newsletter. Raise your hand or say yes in chat. I'm waiting. Where are you? We have one? Only one? I don't see any hands raised. Yep. Okay. Now I'm not surprised. Don't like if you don't know what the heck I'm talking about, don't be surprised. I'm not surprised. Because it's a feature a lot of people don't know about because LinkedIn doesn't really tell anybody about it. So this is a good feature you want to use. And Julia and Michelle, are you doing newsletters or articles? And if you type it in the chat, and I'm gonna tell you what the difference is. There's not a difference in what it is, it's a difference in where it is. Okay, so very important. Yeah, I'm not surprised we didn't know about it, Angela. So yeah, it's not a known feature. I'm seeing a lot more because I'm telling a lot of people about all the people I'm telling in my classes and my clients I'm getting newsletters now. So the difference is, what is it? Right, so you have your posts, right? You can see up here that big fat arrow is you can start a regular post there, but you can also write an article. And an article is basically a blog, right? And the newsletter is not what you're thinking, like what you email out to people with all the different things going on. Here's all the 5 things we've been doing at our business and new company insights or whatever. It's different. It's generally a blog, a single educational article, or blog. We're calling it different things, but it's the same thing. Now, an article, if you're on LinkedIn and if you just have one connection and or one follower on your business page, everybody can write an article. It's an Oprah thing. Everybody can have an article, right? There's no restrictions on if you have a free account or paid account, or you have 100,000 connections or one connection. Everybody can do an article. And it's a blog. I would say if you have a blog on your website, I always start there, post it on my website. I come here and I post it as, for me, a newsletter. And I'll explain the difference in a second. So you can start off if you have now again, it's a blog, not necessarily like an advertising or all the 5 different things you did. You keep it simple. You know, it's usually one blog article. Okay, so that's an article. And then when you publish it, it will show up in your news feed. So that's how you find how your connections or followers find it. And you can do this, an article from your profile and or your company page. I do both, but as newsletters. And I'll explain that. So you can see here, you go, this is how you find it. You go up to your home page. This is the easiest way I find it. Write article. It's going to pop up here on the left. It will show you, do you want to do it from your profile? I have 2 company pages there, so I can choose. The black lines are my clients there. So I can choose either my profile or my company pages to do it from. Okay. And then this is what it looks like. You just opens up, whether it's an article or a newsletter, it'll look the same. And it will, you put in your blog header, your title, and your content on there. You can include, links in it. Like if you wanted to link back to your website or link to sign up for your newsletter or sign up for your email list, whatever, sign up for a strategy session, you can do that. But this is where it looks the same. Now for newsletters, as you see at the top, there is a restriction. You have to have over 150 followers on your company page or 150 connections or more. So if you have, 500 plus connections on your profile, send a newsletter from there. If you're under that for the company page, still do an article and then work on getting followers. Okay, so everybody's going to share their company page in the chat now, right? So you can get followers, get that number up. That's why I told you should share, or your connections, right? So very important to do that. Now where it should, you can see here to find the newsletter function, you still follow the same path, and you can see my arrow there. I already have a newsletter. If you don't have one already, you're just going to see that create a newsletter. So I have my newsletter under my profile is called Marketing News Tips and Hacks, right? And then you send an edition. I want to go ahead a slide. You create a new edition here. Okay, so I'm going to go back here and show you. Now the important feature of it is where it shows up. The newsletter shows up in the notifications inbox. Okay, so you can see here, new from Kalika Yap and Kalika Yap newsletter, The Thief of Joy. So I was just at an event with her the other day. It's finally met her in person after all these years. So she calls her newsletter, Kalika Yap newsletter, like mine's Marketing News Tips and Hacks. The title of this particular edition is called The Thief of Joy. So I say this is like having fake emails. It's like going into the email inbox. And where do we go first when we log into LinkedIn? We look at all the red dots like, oh, I have new notices, I have new messages, I have new network connections, right? So it's like when we log into our email box and start reading what's in our inbox. So, we don't have the emails here. Much more powerful. So every time Kalika posts or I post an edition, I see it in my notifications box. I think the first time that I got it from her, I had LinkedIn notifications set up on my phone. One Sunday afternoon, it popped up, said new from Kalika Yap, Thief of Joy. So much more powerful than just showing up in the news feed, right? Hopefully people see it. Now, I've already subscribed to her. So if I hadn't yet subscribed, maybe the first time she posted, there would be a subscribe button on the right of there. And you can hit subscribe right away. You can see I have a couple other new from Daniel Robbins, new from Raz Professional Services, right? So this is where they go. This is why you want to do a newsletter, right? And so I post, as I mentioned, so I'm going to go ahead a slide. Oops, 2 slides. So you can see here, this number is actually old. I think I have now 1,020 or something. And this many subscribers. I have 9 editions now, and I have over 7 months. So 1 a month approximately I've done so far. I've been trying to bump it up as well. But still, these are not all my first connections, because I do invite people in other places to subscribe, right? So now these 1,000+ people who hit that subscribe button, they want to receive my content. I'm very honored, right? Whether they read it or not each time. And I notice when I send it out, you can get analytics and go, okay, there are 300 views, right? Now, I think somebody asked, should I do it from both? I do from my profile and my pages. I do the same content, but what I'll do is I'll send the one to my profile first, because I have more connections there. So that one will go out, say it on a Monday, and then I'll schedule the one to the pages on Wednesday. I'll wait a couple of days because there might be some crossover in the followers. So this way they kind of get it twice in their inbox, which is fine. Maybe they ignored the first one or missed the first one. So yeah, so I do from both. You know, then both of them I only have like 300 or so, 350 followers on my page, much smaller than my connections, but I still want to you know, send it out. And I call it something a little different. Same exact content. I call it Skyrocket Your Brand News instead, but it's again the same content. I just make it look a little bit differently then. So that's why you want to have a newsletter, right? And again, it's not the same. I think here, a newsletter. Yeah, I have a newsletter that's sent from Constant Contact. Can I migrate? It depends. If the news, again, this isn't a newsletter like an email where you have like 5 different subjects in there, all the latest news, and here's this information, where you have multiple topics, which is typical in newsletter. If it's just a single topic, you know, keep it simple. You could migrate it over. I mean, you have to just copy paste it all on here. You don't want to, you know, have a link to a PDF attachment or link to another page. The content needs to sit in LinkedIn. So you just create that banner header, the title, paste in your blog topic or your content. So yeah, it's keep it as a single topic, maybe 2, but I would say really they're meant to be blog articles, which is usually 1 article, right? I have some clients that are they also sell products. Then it might B2B products, you know, somebody's selling pipes, you know, or things to contractors. And they want to say, hey, we have this new rubber fitting thing. I'm like, yeah, you can kind of talk, you know, make it kind of like a blog, like introducing our latest rubber fitting thing, and this is how it works and why you should use it and how you'll benefit from it. So you kind of can use it for products as well, and then you can have it go to the website. I don't think it was a shopping cart product. They have to call for a quote and all that. But you do it, you know, you can use it for that as well. I've used it before to, you know, I do have an email list, and some of you might be on it, in Constant Contact, and you'll say, here is my latest webinars. So once I did, one of my additions is, you know, my latest webinars coming up. So I did use it once for that as well. But yeah, that's how it differs from the newsletter that we know from an email marketing standpoint. There we go. I think I answered that one. When I mentioned, Richard, when I mentioned Canva, so Canva, if you're familiar with it, is a graphic design tool. You can create your banners in Canva, like this little 300 by 300 marketing news tips and hacks that you use for your newsletter picture. That can be created on Canva. Just, you know, type in create design 300 by 300. The other LinkedIn banners, the one that's for your profile and the business page, just type in, when you say create a new design, just type in and search LinkedIn, and it will give you all the different sizes of products of LinkedIn templates there for you to use. And I mentioned the one in the business banner is called career page banner. It's the same size. So I think that's what you were asking about. So that's a newsletter. And then I just did a screenshot, obviously an older one. I only had 853 at the time, but you'd see I have first, second, and third connections, followers, or connections really, or non-connections, subscribed to my page. You know, you can go and click on that number and see who, you know, subscribed. And I like to look like, oh, really? That person subscribed? I'm honored and pleased. So yeah, and that's because probably my first connections are going to see it first because they're connections. But then I also invite people, you know, via my email to subscribe to my newsletter. They just decided maybe not to connect, just to subscribe. So you'll see that. And then this is something new, collaborative articles. Has anybody contributed or been asked to contribute to collaborative articles. Sometimes you'll get an invitation to say, can you contribute to this topic? Anybody here? Say in chat, yes in chat, raise your hand. Again, another thing like, what the heck is she talking about? Right. So no one here has contributed. Okay. Again, not surprised. Don't feel left out because LinkedIn doesn't really talk about it. So if you go to linkedin.com/advice, you'll see the articles. They're basically, LinkedIn created them, but they're all different types of topics. Generally, you're invited at some point to contribute. So if that, like, I think I was last year initially said, can you contribute to this topic in marketing? Now they see that if you see my profile, I talk about marketing. I say I'm a marketing coach. So it's all about marketing. They figure, okay, she can probably talk about marketing. So they invited you to contribute to these collaborative articles, right? And there's a couple features with them. You can earn, the more you contribute, you can earn these badges that I have two, the top digital marketing voice and I think branding strategy voice. Those are cool. Okay, you can see them, you can on there, but better is people seeing your answers. So now I want everybody to check as well, because you'll be able to tell if you're able to contribute or not. Some of you may not be able to. Okay, it might be that you're new or you're not hanging out there and doing a lot of stuff, or it's not obvious what you do from your profile. So they can't search and go, okay, yeah, this is a marketing person. We'll ask her. So when you go to that advice, you'll see topics. If you just go to the main, this is all I chose marketing as the topic. There's, I don't know, hundreds of topics there. Could be leadership skills and, HR and, a lot of different industries and topics there. So I just drilled down to marketing. And then I chose, okay, I'll work on the digital marketing collaboration area, or I'll work on social media marketing, whatever. And then you'll see these articles, and then you can contribute to them. You can see like that top one has 25 contributions. So I want you all to just go to that advice, linkedin.com/advice, choose any category. It doesn't matter if it's your category or not. Just choose anything just to try this. And then you're going to pick any of the articles. Doesn't matter which one. Okay, so I just chose under marketing, digital marketing. Here's how you can adjust your content strategies to meet evolving consumer preferences. And then there'll be these kind of different, I don't want to say subtopics or parts of that article that you can contribute to, right? So if you go this far, you're checking out, doesn't matter what article, what category, whatever. Now, if you on the right, where I have that giant arrow, if you see start a contribution, then you're able to contribute. If you see get started, I think it says, it might just mean you cannot yet contribute. Okay, so if you're not seeing start a contribution, it might be you're too new, or they couldn't find you in some way to have contribute. You can look at the articles as well, but if you do have start a contribution, so you can go, like, I'll say understanding trends, and then I can type in my response there, and there are other people who have added their own response to it as well. And you can see here now it says you're in the top 4% of quality contributors. You have to kind of work your way down to, they want you to be in the top 5% to earn those badges. And you have to keep the badges. I think you get them for 60 days, as long as you keep contributing on a regular basis. And I say, I don't have the exact number, but I was contributing. I would go in daily, 5-10 minutes and grab some articles and contribute in these two categories. And it went from like 11% down to 8%. And then it finally hit the 5% and I got the badge. But what's important about it, like I said, badge cool, right? I can screenshot it and people will see it, but where it shows up, I was like, where does this content go? Who is seeing it? But then I was looking at my notifications box and my connections, some of them were reacting to my responses. They liked my contribution to the article about, branding and strategy or whatever. So another way, just like the newsletters, for people to get content in their notifications or inbox that I've created, that I've contributed to, that I've shown my subject matter expertise to, right? So I said, badge cool, this is cooler, right? So you're again showing yourself off as the experienced person that they want to hire potentially. So contribute. If you don't want to earn the badges, at least, hey, as long as you contribute, that your answers will be seen out there, potentially for people to react to that might be potential clients, right? So that's the important part of it. So again, if you have, but yeah, so Karen said, I've been invited, but I haven't added content yet. So again, it does take some effort, to contribute if you want to get the badge, if you just want to contribute randomly. But again, it's like the more you post, the more people see content, right? The more you have a newsletter out there, the more chance people have to see your content. So it's totally up to you. Like, you don't want to be, I use this example in my social media. If you're a Star Trek fan, anybody here Star Trek fan? Going back, way back, Klingons, right? I think Klingons and Romulans, they have a special feature on their ships. Anybody know what that is? They're the Warbird. I think it's the Klingon one. I don't know what the Romulan ship is called. What is their feature? Somebody has to be a Star Trekkie like me. What's their cloaking? Hey, we have one other Trekkie here in the room, right? You can cloak. You can make your ship invisible, which, to your enemies as you're traveling through, you don't want people to see you, you cloak. And then you can decloak and show up and right then surprise people. So I always use that example. Don't be a Klingon or a Romulan, right? Don't constantly cloak and decloak. You want to be out there. You want to always be decloaked. You want to have a presence there. When you're cloaked, it's good for your enemies if you have them, but not good for your potential customers to not be able to see you. So it's really up to you. The more you're out there, the more you're out there, right? And it is work, it is, I have to say it is work. Can't get around it, right? Do have to contribute. I'm sorry, I went backwards there. So again, another place, if you're in the start of contribution, maybe it's something to look at. Maybe, well, they're not inviting me. Does my profile make sense? Does it talk about what I do? Like I'm a leadership business executive coach, and I help with leadership skills and company culture. And, what are those terms that potentially look through all the categories out there that you could fit under, that could potentially, like, if you're a leadership coach or a business coach and you work on leadership skills, look, there's probably is a collaborative articles under leadership skills, team building strategies, there's everything there. So look and see and then kind of play like, okay, so I probably should have something on here that talks about leadership skills. Is it clear, what you have on there? And then just spending more time you're on there, the more chance that you have of they're going to want you to collaborate and contribute to the articles. So that makes sense. More work for you guys, and I just keep piling on. How do I find leads on LinkedIn? Several ways. So you definitely want to keep your profile updated, right? Make sure it's not circa, 2008 that you last updated it and had when you had a job and before you started your company, right? Update everything on there and make sure it looks like you're participating recently. You can add connections to your network, of course, right? You can look at who viewed you. And now on the free version, you only can see like 3, I think, at a time. If you're on the paid version, I think it can go 90 days back. And it might be valuable to see, like, who is it that's looking around at my profile? Maybe they didn't connect, but why don't you send a connection and see? It might be something of interest, right? Former clients, perhaps, if you have them. Connections of your first connections. So I'm going to go back. I always forget I should add the slide here, but I'm going to go back for a sec. Okay, hold on tight here. Okay, so you see here on mine where it says 500 plus connections in blue. Now, if you see it in blue, that means you can go and peek at all my connections and see if anybody you want to connect with there. Maybe somebody, in your field or industry that you may want, they might have connections that are in your industry. If it's black, that means that person they're cloaked, they're a Romulan or a Klingon. You can in the privacy and security settings under your profile. I think it's called profile view, and you can toggle that on and off. So if you don't want anybody to spy on your connections, turn it off. If you don't mind it being open, you can turn it back on. So that's what I mean, connections of your first connections. Let me go back. Okay, and then you can of course, do searches for specific people, companies. I'll show you that in a second. Definitely engage. All the stuff I mentioned in the first couple slides were all the things you do to participate, right? You want to engage, and you want to go look at other people's content, comment, like, repost, etc. Write recommendations, ask for recommendations. But ask, when I say authentic only, you know, you now can like go to a person directly, you know, and say, ask for a recommendation from them. You know, so if it's somebody you're connected to, like if say I want, you know, I work with coaching clients and I wanted a couple of them to write recommendations for me that I work with. So I asked them via LinkedIn, I said, can you write a recommendation? So you can send them, but authentic. Don't write recommendations like just to write them or ask for them like, oh, you know, I don't really know you, I've never worked with you, but can you just write something about me nice, you know? You want to make sure that's authentic, that somebody you've worked with or done business or attended a class that you liked, whatever. You know, maybe so yeah, make it more authentic to have then ask for that. Join groups. It says most leads are generated through groups, right? I'll talk about that in a second as well. Use LinkedIn to celebrate the accomplishment of others. So, right, people share their birthdays here too, their work anniversaries, you know, anything. I just started a new job, you know, be reciprocal, right? We want to pretend we care and we're showing up for others as well here. So that's showing LinkedIn that you're participating and paying attention. And then, so connecting and searching for people and companies, right? You can search for people, companies, you can search for groups, you know, all types of searches. So you can get specific. This is where, like I said, if you have a very niche audience, like say mechanical engineers, you can search for people called mechanical engineers and pull up a whole list of mechanical engineers, right? And then send invitations to connect, right? Now, you can send a note or not. Okay, now sending a note means like here, hi Julie, great meeting at the conference, something familiar perhaps. Maybe like, hey, today you're like, oh, I was in Patty's LinkedIn class, you know, connecting with you, you know, or maybe you looked at their profile like, oh, I see that you also graduated from UCLA, you know, there's some connection, maybe, right? Or hey, I like connecting. I see you're also in the wine industry. I like connecting with other people in the industry. You know, you can make it personal or to send it without a note. Now, what was interesting, I just learned last week, I think maybe on LinkedIn or some marketing guru that I follow, who's truly a guru. There was a study done. They did send out like 2 million invite requests, half with a note and half without. And there really was no market difference between sending with a note or out. People still connected even without an invite or without a notice, I should say, not an invite. So yeah, after I saw that, I'm like, well, 50-50. All right. And I don't do too many connection requests. I get a lot of connection requests, but the ones I do, and I have LinkedIn Premium, so I can send unlimited notes. On the free version, they've now recently dropped it down to about 6 per month. So they really are trimming down on the free account. But in this case, it's like it's nice to have it if you do have a connection in some way or something to remind them that's familiar. Why are they wanting to connect with me? But again, you're limited on the free version and they still might connect and they get a message, right? So if Julia is going to get that, hey, Julia, nice meeting at the conference. She can respond back. Oh, it was nice meeting you too. Maybe let's connect. Or after the fact, if they just accept the blind connection without a note, you can then send them a message back. Of course, don't do the like, hey, let me tell you all about my marketing services, right? Like, hey, thanks for connecting. I'd love to learn more about what you do so I can help you, learn about how I can help connect you to people or clients or whatever. Make it about them. You can ask and say sometimes if it's in that case, I might be more open to say, hey, do you want to do like a 15-minute virtual little coffee date? So I can learn more about how I can help you, right? Of course, you're going to feel like I'm going to help. They're going to help me too. But again, I'm going to be more open to that if you say it that way versus like, hey, let's set up a coffee date so I can tell you all about my services. I'm like, well, that might work sometimes if I find their services. I'm like, yeah, I'm actually interested in that. Let's talk. Right. So could try different things, but yeah, then with or without the note, you can maybe A/B test that in a way, send some with, some without, see if that makes a difference. But I like, if I have a personal connection or if I'm in a group like this, I do networking online and we're doing the LinkedIn thing, like I said, you guys can do. I'll say, oh, hey, it was great meeting you in this networking room or in the speakers bureau or whatever it is. So yeah, make it a little bit more personal. Let's see. It's my understanding we only have 50 groups on LinkedIn we can be part of at any one time. Would it be most advantageous to join the 50 largest groups by member size to be able to search the most profiles across LinkedIn without monthly paid LinkedIn? And the second question is, have you seen or heard of there being bot LinkedIn accounts joining groups like the thousands we see on Facebook? I haven't seen, so second part, I haven't seen that, but I'm not in every group, so I haven't seen it. As long as it's, moderated. I would say as far as the size, that seems to make sense, right? Like if you saw a group and it has 50,000 people in it, you're like, oh, okay, this is gold. Oh, this is a great group. And you go in there and like the last post in there was like 6 months ago, even with that many people. But you find a smaller group and it's active. So I would say, I don't know if you can look at the group without joining. You could join, look at it. And if you decide because you're limited by the 50, then I would say you can unjoin the group to make space for another one, look around, see like how active it is. Check the rules of engagement with the group, right? Like you can't go in a group and like, let me tell you all about my services and, and start what they could call spamming, right? Look at the conversation, listen to what's going on, look at what's going on, look at previous posts. Do they allow you to promote yourself? I always say, go into a group and you should at least introduce yourself. And you can introduce yourself, make it a little advertorial. Like I would go on, hi, I'm Patty, Golden State Marketing. I just joined this group. I help businesses with social media and email marketing and promotional products. Nice to meet everybody. So I don't put a link or anything, but I would just kind of mention what I do. So I'm introducing myself to the group. So, I have a group that all of you can join called the Marketing Lab. And I'm like, free for all. If you want to promote your business, include links, whatever, as long as you're not, doing anything illegal, right? You're fine. I'm totally open because I'm all about marketing, share, network, talk to each other, collaborate. But yeah, you just have to be mindful with just like with Facebook groups, some like don't want to promote, or you can promote yourself on certain days of the weeks or whatever. So just be mindful of what's going on and listen, there might be conversations going on around some pain points you can help with. And then maybe figure out what that outreach is like say I met you in the group, or like, hey, I can help with that. I work with clients that are having that issue, etc. So that could be, I have a client, I know we're getting on time here, that he does, he's a business coach and he focuses on leadership skills, employee retention, company culture, that stuff. So he did this a little bit differently. He did it without me, and he just tried it. And he went through a handful of his warm connections. So to him, warm was like he went to USC and was in a fraternity, and another fraternity brother is a connection from another year, but so kind of warm. They, have that they have that in common, but maybe never reached out. So he sent about a dozen to warm connections a message. And he said, hey, I have this really quick survey about, issues around employee retention and company culture. Would you mind, if you're having issues, fill out this survey? And it was like 5 questions and around the pain points, and so he got about half of them actually responded. And so when he caught up with me, I said, hey, now send it to cold connections, people that you connected with whenever they thought you could be a client, but you never did any outreach to them. And same questions, and I think he tweaked them a little bit, but same thought, and about half responded. And then he started using for new connections, he was using the messaging thing and saying, hey, I'd love to connect. I help with employee retention and company culture. Would love to connect. And if you can, here's a link to a quick 5-question survey if you're having issues with that. And he got people to respond, and he got about half responded. And I'm like, okay, now what? Are you contacting them and go, I can help with that. All right. So he did a little bit differently, again, focusing on their pain points. Now, if they didn't have any issues around employee retention and company culture, they probably didn't respond. But if that is a pain point, like, oh, wait, employee retention, we are employee benefits, and how do I keep them? And we're losing them. And, so if that is a like, oh, yeah, let me raise my hand, then they're more likely to fill that out. So that was a different approach. So it just has to follow up, on those now warmer leads because they actually have responded, right? Let's see. My LinkedIn group is called the Marketing Lab. And it has a little light bulb on it, like person and with a light bulb over the head. I'll share that link with you later. So, okay, let me keep on going here and I'll finish up. So there is another way to search. It's called a Boolean search. Now, if you want to narrow down who you're trying to find. So in this case, the last one was I just want mechanical engineers, people who are the actual mechanical engineers. Easy, right? Just type in mechanical engineer. In this case, I want owners or the head person of environmental engineering firms. So in order for me to narrow that down, I have to do a Boolean search. So I'm bringing two pieces of information together. So I want environmental engineering and I want anyone who's called an owner. Okay, so I do quotes, environmental engineering, then and quotes owner. Now it's going to narrow it down to, you see on the right, owner and their company name has something with environmental engineering. So it can easily find these 16,000 owners of environmental engineering firms. Great. But what also consider is we don't always call ourselves the same thing. I'm an owner. I can be CEO. I could be a president. I could be a founder. So you might have to try a couple of different Boolean search versions of this one in order to find everybody who is the owner, founder, CEO, president of an environmental engineering firm. This way, if I just put in environmental engineering and I chose company under the search rather than people, I'm going to get everybody who works in an environmental engineering firm, the marketing person, the IT people, the HR, the janitor, whoever's in there under environmental engineering. So this way I'm narrowing it down. A couple other things to consider with Boolean searches is titles of businesses that they might work for. So here in Los Angeles, we have the Los Angeles Unified School District. Some people call it LAUSD. Some say LA Unified School District. I always called it LA Unified. My mom's a retired teacher with LA Unified. So if I say my mom was on here and she had LA Unified, she would not come up in the search if I just put English teacher and LAUSD. Now, she wasn't an English teacher, but so you have to type all the different variations and know that of what they call their business or industry or whatever. Law firm, same thing as the other one, right? Could be a senior partner at the law firm, the CEO, the president, the executive director. So you have to try a couple of different Boolean searches to pull all of them in there. But very powerful way to like kind of narrow your searches down, for what you're looking for. All right. Oops, skipped one. So here's connecting with lions. So not the kind that roar in the African plains, but the LinkedIn open networkers, right? So these are people who are a sure bet, right? They will connect with everybody that sends them a connection. Now, why do they do that? Well, just to expand their connection. So if people search, if you go search lion, you just LION or L period I period and LinkedIn open network, you're going to see people. You just put that into your next to your profile, and you can do it. Everybody here can do it if you want. And then it just gets more people to connect with you. May or may not be, ideal people to work with, but you never know. I want to connect with somebody who's a VP of technology, senior software engineer. It sounds like he has a job, probably not look interested in working with me in marketing. Maybe he knows somebody. I just say there's no harm, no foul. I'm not officially a lion, but I'd probably say unofficially somewhat of a lion. I rarely will not accept an invite request. And it's only I usually get these a lot. I had a client that he was a US distributor of motorcycle race gloves. Now he didn't make them. They were made in Belgium, a company or Austria, not Belgium, sorry, another country. And he was just a distributor of motorcycle race gloves. So I helped him with marketing. And so I have them listed in there. And of course, some people, and I think they're in Pakistan, they sell leather or they make leather products. So they contact me. I'm like, I have nothing to do with this client. We never made gloves. I don't think he would have any connections that I would be, of value. And I'm not going to be of value to him because I don't do anything with leather and race gloves anymore. So in that case, I'd probably just, ignore it, and delete it. So, but very rarely. So if you want to be a lion, you can, if not, that's okay. Make sure you share your buttons all over. Put them in. This is obviously a direct to consumer email, but you do want to share them on your emails if you're sending out, campaigns and newsletters. Share them in your signature, and you can share both your page and your profile. I usually on my website, I think if you go to my website, I put my profile because I want to connect with you first, and then I can invite you to, follow my company page, right? Nico, you're back for more. You were here yesterday. I love it. So joining groups, right? So definitely, as I just mentioned earlier, join groups. You can go and do specific searches for, like, this is actually a real search. One of my coaching clients, she wrote volleyball coaching software, coach scoring software or program. Most of the coaching in high school and college is still like hand tabulated. So she developed the software very specific for volleyball, right? So I said, let's just do some volleyball coach groups. And you can see here, Volleyball Business Network, I Coach Volleyball, The Art of Coaching Volleyball. So and then we also did searching for high school coaches, college coaches, because maybe they're not in a volleyball specific coaching one. So we kind of expanded. So she's joined these groups and is kind of listening, participating as well, and doing some outreach to find people to connect with in the groups, perhaps, that are coaches. And we also did searches, under people, volleyball coaches, coach in general, to find those individual people that are actual coaches, and then hanging out in groups. What are the pain points? Maybe I think told her, go ask the question to say, do you find scoring, a lot of work if you're doing it by hand? What if you happen to have some software to do it? Would that be something that would, make your life easier, and just kind of get some feedback on that without saying, hey, here's my volleyball coaching program, right? And let's see what else. So growing your network don'ts, right? And I think let's see, we're at 11:30. We might just go a little bit over, Linda. I don't think I have that much more on here. So growing your networks don't connect, just don't do the opposite of what I told you to do. Right? You don't want to connect, post and run, just show up and post once in a while and don't participate in anything, right? Don't connect, don't engage, don't look in groups, don't do your articles, you're just kind of just throwing it out there, like walking into a mixer, throwing your business cards in the room and walking away, and hoping for the best, right? You wait until you have a need, right? I know sometimes we're flush with clients and then, I don't have time to do this stuff anymore. And then you're not flush with clients and then you have to come back there again, right? You want to be consistent even when times are good and you're flush with clients. Obviously, if you're looking for a new job, but I think most of us are looking for new clients. You forget where you are. This is not Facebook or Instagram. Again, not where you put up your family photos and your dog pictures and what you ate for dinner. You don't follow industry leaders. So get out there and connect with those people in your industry leaders or thought leaders that are out there in the universe. Contribute, be seen out there. You just don't care. Like, again, you're not showing up. You haven't updated your profile. You haven't updated your about. Your last job was 10 years ago. You don't care. You ignore your team's network, right? So if you have
The audio just dropped.
there we go. Can you hear me?
Now you can. Yes.
Sorry about that. So yeah, I think I touched my mic to move it closer because there was some noise outside. I didn't realize I hit the mute button. Just going back, should you pay for LinkedIn? And I say it depends, right? If you're strictly B2B and this is where you should hang out, then you might want to. There are some additional features on here that could be useful for you. I'm on premium. I don't have to wait to connect to somebody in order to send them a message. So you can just send messages out to anybody if you want to. So that might be a value. I always like to connect, and have that little extra bond before I send a message out. But either way that could work. So you can send those in mails. You also get to see who followed you 90 days out, and it's full 90 days. You can unlimited people browsing. There's some advanced filter features as well. I would say be able to send more notes as well, even though I just mentioned that 50/50 survey, but you can do more than the 6 on the free version. They do have a free trial month as well now, I think on either the core or the business premium. But so you could try it out for a month and see if those features are of value to you. Just make sure it's a month that you have time to actually really use it. So, and this is it's page 2. So some things you can see. A lot of them are around recruiting and jobs and stuff, which may or may not apply to you. But you do have access to a lot of LinkedIn learning courses and things like that. So again, think about how you're using it. For those of you that may be direct, anybody here like both direct to consumer and direct to business, B2B and B2C? Like maybe a retail product or service and a consumer service that could also potentially be B2B. I would say something, I thought somebody in here who did food or catering, I think was a catering person in here. I saw that was in the connections. Say yes in chat if there was a food catering or food. Some of the things could cross over, right? So we're using catering as an example, right? You can do personal catering. You can do weddings and baby showers and anniversaries and birthday parties, whatever. Oh, Peter. Okay, that's right. Yeah. So, but you might also do business catering, right? Corporate events, things like that, conferences. So that you cross over. I have some clients that do baked goods. So one does a kind of biscotti cookie. So definitely direct to consumer, and on her Instagram, Facebook, all over there, it's more about, hey, buy some of my cookies. Here's a little cookie pack, for yourself. But on LinkedIn, she's on here, very active on LinkedIn, corporate gifting. She doesn't talk about, hey, individual person, come buy some of my cookies. It's all focused on corporate gifting. Same with my other cookie, dessert related client. Now, in some cases, say, for example, somebody I talked to, she's a hairstylist, she owns a hair salon. And she's like, well, my clientele tends to be, high level executives, C-suite people, high net worth. So I can find them on LinkedIn. I'm like, yes, but this isn't a place where unless it's like you're doing only, say, hair styling for movie studios or business related, maybe, but it's not a place like, look at all the cute hairstyles I did. It's kind of, that would be more of a gray area where it is direct to consumer and you don't have really a professional B2B tying other than your demographic is that audience. So you do have to be, because they don't, if they start seeing like all hairstylists start posting up on LinkedIn, all the cute hairstyles they do, and it's not really business related, then that's not going to make LinkedIn happy. Right. So, so some of the B2C can cross over if you have a professional spin to it. Photographers who do both weddings and they do branding photography, you can talk about both. You might not do the wedding stuff and post all your great wedding pictures on LinkedIn, but your corporate branding stuff you can. So there is potentially some crossover with direct to consumer as well. And to answer Karen's question, going back to automated LinkedIn marketing. So there's different options out there. There are companies that do the automations where, and LinkedIn doesn't do it. So it's always third party because they always believe you should link to people, connect to people one-on-one, just as if we're meeting at a mixer and handing each other a card, right? So there are automation companies out there. So basically what they do typically is you'll set up who you're trying to outreach to. They will do outreach. They'll set up a bunch of connections. You still have to invite people to connect. Once they accept the connection, they start an automation process in the messaging. Usually like, hey, let me reach out. It might be appointment setting. It might be just, hey, I'd like to set up an appointment to talk to you, or hey, are you interested in this? So there is an automation. Then so it could potentially work. I have a little bit different one. One of my clients, he does trade show booths and designs and, the whole setups for trade shows, for conferences. So big projects, it could be $20,000-$30,000 projects. And he's using a company, and I forgot the name, but I talked to them. It was interesting. It wasn't a pure automation where it's just like, okay, we're going to pull in, we're going to do a search. I'm looking for, I want to reach out to environmental engineers. We'll use that as an example. And we pull in a list of all the environmental engineers. It will do the automatic, so many connections per day requests. And then as the people accept the connections, and then the nurture sequence starts that you set up with an automation company. And that's all completely automated. The one this company my client was using, the company, he said they're all former psychologists. So they're kind of use that. So what they do first, they start off by building lists of people. And then, that you want to outreach. So they set up a kind of like a CRM spreadsheet thing of all the different people to potentially connect with. They build that list, and then they start kind of more manually connecting for you, so, and they build all these leads for you, because they're like, they walk them through, and with their psychology background, sending the right messages, and people are sending them. So it seems more personal. And my client said he's gotten some clients from that particular type rather than the pure automation one. So I think that's what you're asking about, Karen. So there are some options. They're all third party. You do have to be careful because the LinkedIn doesn't really like them. Some are okay to use. Others, they might look like if you're trying to do too much, like you're over connecting with people, like things look automated, they could potentially shut it down or shut your account down. So you have to just be careful on which ones you use out there, that they are legit, as well. Let's see. Oh, how do you get to the contributor page? To go back, go to linkedin.com/advice. That will be on the slide as well. So, okay, so I'm almost done. A couple more slides and we're done. So this is almost 3 more slides left. So why should B2B companies use social media other than LinkedIn, right? So everybody goes home at night as a consumer, all CEOs, CIOs, CTOs, CMOs, marketing managers, HR people. We all go home, we're all consumers, right? So potentially, see what you do on the other platforms. I wouldn't focus solely on those. This is kind of more like a website thing. When people Google your company and you have no web presence, it could be a red flag. You should have an operational website. So you might think, well, I'll just use my LinkedIn, or I know some people just use an Instagram account. What happens if social media disappears tomorrow and you have no website? Now, most likely it won't, but what happened? Your website is your home base where your company information sits. You have complete control over that content. People can see all about you, what you do, your services, do a reach out, as opposed to it being just through LinkedIn, right? Or Instagram, whatever. Talent cares about company culture. So that would be great for the other platforms. You can still kind of put some company culture on stuff on LinkedIn, but they want to see, like, what is this company like? Do they do fun things? Do they do philanthropic work? Do they look like they have benefits that I might like? So that's kind of where you share that kind of company culture stuff. Investors, journalists, leaders are there. So you want to be out there in front of these people. Every CEO should have a way to talk directly to their customers. Like all of us should, right? And we will reach out. I have people who reach out to me via LinkedIn. I'm okay with that. And I'm like, they have my email. Even some of my clients are like, why are they sending me messages on LinkedIn when they have my they have my email? I'm like, okay, whatever works, it's fine. I'm active. I look. I might see the email sooner than I see the LinkedIn message, but that's okay. That's how we all communicate. We're all different on where, like, I'm going to go to Facebook Messenger, or I'm going to text you, or I'm going to send you an email. Right. So you have to be open to all of them and be prepared for all of those. I wouldn't say, sorry, the only way you can reach me is if you send me an email between the hours of midnight and 8 a.m. These are people who potentially want to do business with you. Be open to all avenues of outreach. Right. So next steps for your business. In order to capture that 80% of the leads, what do you need to do to grow your business on LinkedIn? And then, are you budgeting for marketing or waiting to make money to have a marketing budget? I hear that all the time. I said, Patty, we'll hire you when I have more money coming in. What are you going to do differently to make that money? Right? Marketing should always be in the don't when things are bad, people tend to drop their marketing budget. This is when you should have a marketing budget, right? It takes marketing to make money. What support do you need to achieve your marketing goals? So if you have any questions about LinkedIn or anything else with your marketing, feel free to reach out to me. My email's here. I'm happy to, you can schedule a strategy session or send me an email, ask any follow-up questions. Join my LinkedIn marketing group. It'll be in the assets page, the LinkedIn Marketing Lab. We also go there to ask questions, follow up. I ask questions in there, collaborate, network, etc. So make sure you reach out if you do have any questions. And I'm going to just check Linda's last few questions before we end. I know we're a little over already. Let's see. Do you need to add the word "and" between the quotes? Yes. So yeah, on web search, I usually leave the word "and" out altogether. So yeah. So you could try it. I've always learned the Boolean search on LinkedIn with the "and" in the middle. So you could do quote environmental engineer, quote owner, see if it comes up, try it both ways. But I've always just used the "and" because I'm looking for both of those. So if it works that way, use it that way. Every time I contact people from the search, it tells me that I don't have access. Contact. So, if you are not connected to them, Nico, then you wouldn't be able to contact them directly. I don't know if that's what you mean, like you're hitting the message button. So that, yeah, on the paid version, I can, like I said, I see the message button for everybody. But yeah, I don't know if I'd have to see exactly what sequence you're doing for that. But if you're not, if you are connected with them already, you should. Some people have their profile, like, even when you want to invite the connector, like you have to know their email address or tell how you know them. I'm not sure if that's what you mean, but if you want to follow up with me, we can look at that as well. Let's see, Patty, I just now followed you and received an invite. Is that automated from LinkedIn? I also just noticed a couple of other invitations. I am new to, yeah, so I don't do anything. So if you just followed me, I don't set up any automation saying, hey, and connect with me as well. And I think that's what you're talking about. So that would be because the follow isn't in a connection, right? So maybe LinkedIn is encouraging connections by, if you hit follow and you're not a connection, to say, hey, you should also connect, and you can do either one, with me. Yeah, so that might be the case. And following, like I said, is fairly newer. I don't know exactly when that launched, but it's newer than just connect. You used to just connect, and now you can just follow without doing that. I looked for your group on LinkedIn. Yeah, I think I already answered that one. So yeah, the Marketing Lab, if you find it, but I'll make sure you have it. Are there any third-party tools to help with content for posts or any other that you recommend? Yeah, so I use a tool called EVAI. I'll put it on the assets page as well. It's a Chrome extension, but also I think it's all purely a Chrome extension. It's kind of free. There are some things you can do free. It will help you create comments. It also can help with the collaborative articles, but even that particular tool, it's like, even when it writes, like I showed it yesterday on the other class, a demo of it responding to a post. And it was like, somebody said, oh, I just attended this really cool event and we had a lot of fun and we networked. So I was responding because I knew the people, and it wrote the response as if I attended it. Like, oh yeah, that was really fun. We had a great time. I'm like, oh, wait, no, I didn't attend it. So you do have to kind of watch with AI, with that, but I'll send it. It's like I said, it's called I think it's like app.evai. Yeah, I'll have to send it to you. I don't remember exactly, but it's a great tool, and I pay for it now because I want to be able to use it a little bit more than what the free allows. Let's see. Would you repeat how to access your marketing group? Okay, I already answered that. I don't have I would paste the link in here, but I know it's the Marketing Lab, and I think it has some numbers, but it's just called the marketing. Look under groups, and it should be and it's a person with a light bulb over their head, like an illustration of it. I understand how active the LinkedIn groups with posts and rules of engagement are important. Joining the 50. Oh, I think I answered that one already. Okay, about the 50 and okay. And I think so I think that is it for questions. I think there's one I already answered about the 50 groups. Perfect. Just looking here. Oh, do you keep 15-minute virtual coffees to a hard 15 limit to show integrity of our word, or is that something you treat as flex? that is often goes over 30. Yeah, I would say, if you can, maybe just set the guidelines to begin, like, I asked for 15 minutes of your time. So, say, hey, I'd love to know what you do and how I can help. We'll give each other a few minutes to share, kind of set that tone of like you're watching the clock, and it might be for them. And or if it's going well and you both have time on your schedule, say, oh, we're at the 15-minute mark. Can you still have time? So that's really up to you. Occasionally might go over, as well, or you time it. Just maybe set that, like, are you at a hard 15, Michael, before we start? So I know that it's like not to dawdle, right? Honor that time. Let's see, you mentioned Alyssa, on LinkedIn, you mentioned, not sure, Elena, what that question is about with the mechanics. I'm no longer able to send LinkedIn messages with my invites due to a LinkedIn platform change. I don't know so I'm no longer able to send LinkedIn messages. Well, are you on the free version, Cheryl? If you are, you only can do like up to 6 per month. So it might be, if you already did 6, I think it's 6. If you already did the 6, it's going to say you can't send them. You're done until the next. I don't know if it will say you're done to the next month, saying now you already used up the 6. It doesn't even tell you the number. I forgot. I recently upgraded to premium a month or so ago because of that. But that might be why, Cheryl. I'm not sure if you're on the free version or not.
Excuse me, Patty, I have a hard stop. Do you want to take over the Zoom so that you can continue answering questions?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's if
Okay, I will stop recording though.
Oh, okay, sure, that's no problem. Yep.
Thank you.
Yep, anybody, I'll keep answering
Great
questions.
presentation. Thank you.
Okay. Are you gonna switch over to me as the host, I think, and then we'll keep going. And actually what I'll do is I'll go over to LinkedIn to show you some of these things as well. So I'll stop sharing. Hold on. And I think I'm still host, right? Okay.